Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at a few new things. We have the VISEART Praline Etendu, some of the Tower28 Get Set blushes. So these are the ones that are a mix of blush and setting powder. We also have a couple of products from Tilt Beauty. So we have their mascara and one of their lip tints. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with the VISEART palette. So if you haven't checked out VISEART recently, within like the past year or so, they have changed their packaging. So this is an Etendu size palette, which is personally my favorite. And this means all of the shades are 1.5 grams. So we do still have our little cardboard box with our shade names on the back and all of the ingredients and so forth. So these do have a 3-year shelf life, by the way. And then we also have some information here on the back. And when you flip this up, this is actually like a little magnetic pad. This can be torn off. There are perforation marks, but it's just a little piece of paper to protect, prevent all of the like fallout and so forth. So one of the great things about VISEART shadows is there is a little like notch here. You can lift these shades out. You can rearrange them. And if you just want to take out a few shades or maybe mix and match, you do have a magnetic spot right here. So you can kind of put like a little quad or something there. You can take shades from other palettes, rearrange them, whatever you want to do. So I love the versatility of that. And then, as I mentioned, the shade names are only on the back of that, not on here. So we do not have a mirror on the Etendu size palettes. So we're going to start off with swatches here. This is the Praline Etendu. And this actually, it came out around the holidays. VISEART they were just planning on doing a few one-off palettes using some shades, they had from some older palettes and so forth. So just kind of bringing back some of their shades and just reimagining them in a new palette. And they didn't make a lot of them. And the palettes were so popular, everybody kept asking for them to bring them back. So they did bring them back, and they were kind enough to send these to me. So I have this one, I do have the other one as well. So this is our first row. You can see that we do have kind of a champagne, it's a little bit of a warm peachy champagne metallic here. And then we have a peachy cream matte shade. This is going to be a medium tone neutral matte brown. And then this one here is going to be a warm brown satin, and it's going to be a softer shade. Now going into our middle row here, we have a soft, warm, a little bit of an orangey brown matte. Then our next shade here is going to be a rich metallic with a little bit of an orangey coppery undertone to it. This shade here is going to be cooler. This is more of a soft taupe. And then our last shade here in the middle row is going to be a warm golden brown. So we've got 3 satins and a matte here in the middle row. Now for our bottom row here, we have this soft peachy satin shade here. It's the satin metallic. Then we have a warm brown, but it's going to be more neutral. This is more like a nutmeg matte. Then our next shade here, this is a metallic. This one is a little bit grittier, a little, it's creamy when you spread it out, but it's a little chunkier in general. And you can see that this is going to be where you build it up. It's going to look a little bit cooler, but when you kind of spread that out, you get a little bit more of those orangey coppery tones. So it's going to be a bit warmer then. And then our last shade here is a deep cocoa brown matte. So this is Praline Etendu. If you've been looking for a palette with a bunch of neutral browns, this is a good option. One of the great things, let's take a look at the eye swatches. One of the great things here is VISEART palettes always have a mix of finishes. So we have usually about 50% mattes, 50% satins. In this case, we have 5 mattes and 7 satins. And one of the other really nice things is we do typically have a mix of undertones. So we have some cooler tone shades here. We have some warmer tone shades. We have some neutral shades. So it's really easy to kind of mix and match. And by the way, VISEART does also sell their shadows individually. So one of the great things about these, again, is the fact that all of the shadows in here are interchangeable with many of their other palettes. Since these are the 1.5 gram size shadow, you can mix and match these with the Petite 4 palettes, the Grande Pro 1X, anything from the Etendu or the VISEART 15 pan structure brow, shadow, hairline, and contour palette. So all of those are the ones with the exact same pan size, so it's really easy to mix and match. So this palette retails for $44 US. As I mentioned, it has a 3-year shelf life and it is made in the US. We have 18 grams total, so 12 shades at 1.5 grams each. Now, according to VISEART, it's a reverie of warmth. Praline Etendu glows with bronze, honey, mocha, and molten caramel, like golden skin against white linen, like praline melting on the tongue. Light isn't chased, but savored, slipping between shadow and sun in a slow, gilded embrace. A palette kissed with effortless, sun-warmed indulgence. So as I mentioned, the shades in this palette, you may have some of these or even all of these, depending on how many palettes you have from VISEART in previous collections. So several years back, VISEART came out with a Petite 4 in the Praline quad. So we have shades from there, we have shades from the Garnet Petite 4 and so forth. So they brought back some older shades that we haven't seen in a few years and just reimagined them in a new curated palette in the Etendu size, which is my personal favorite. So again, I think this is a really great brown palette. Although VISEART does have a variety of undertones, it does still lean a little bit on the warmer side. It's more of your warmer browns. We do have some cooler and more neutral shades in here to kind of accentuate, but overall, it's still, you know, it's praline. So praline itself is going to be a warmer brown. So it really fits around that theme very well. As for the formulas, the VISEART shadows are triple milled. I have to say, they feel incredibly creamy. I feel like over the years, they've really just improved and pretty much perfected their formula. So all of the shades here are very smooth, creamy, easy to use. The very first shade in the palette is that peachy champagne metallic shade, and that is so pigmented for a metallic. Even with a brush, you could see in the eye swatches that went on just as pigmented with a finger swatch versus the brush, and it's so creamy. So all of the shades, I would say, perform pretty much like that. You can see that with all of these eye swatches, you're not really seeing a major difference between the brush versus the finger swatch, which typically will help build up pigment. Now, these can be blended out. You can shear them out a little bit more, you know, using like a fluffier brush, a lighter application, and so forth. But I have to say, I really appreciate the formula here. The only one I don't love is the second to last shade, which actually I love the color. It smooths out beautifully, but it is a little bit grittier. So I just have to work with that one a little bit more to get that smoother appearance if I'm just trying to use a little bit of product. So if I want it all over the lid, absolutely no issues. But if I'm trying to use it in just a smaller area, I want to make sure that I kind of smooth that out. So that one there isn't my favorite formula wise. It is, you know, a little bit chunkier overall. Overall, I think this is a really beautiful warm brown palette. So it really brings out some of those more coppery, burnt caramel kind of hues. And I think it's really, you know, it's just really nice. The formulas are great. I feel like you can't go wrong with VISEART palettes. And honestly, $44 US for this palette compared to the palettes that, you know, we've been seeing recently from some more expensive brands, you know, you can't beat this quality. I think it's a really fantastic value. I personally love it. So let's take a look at a few comparisons. And we're going to start off with the Petite 4 palette in Praline. And you can see that the palettes before, they came with this plastic lid. Well, VISEART is now really trying to reduce their plastic, which isn't why we now have the paper instead. So this is a Petite 4 in Praline. This is from several years back. All right, so we're going to start off here with the Petite 4 in Praline. And there's another Petite 4 called Praline Épicée. I don't have that one. We do have two of the shades, though, from here. So shade number 1, this is SUQQU. This is supposed to be the same as our 4th shade here. And you can see those are pretty close. I'd say the new one looks perhaps slightly peachier, but they're pretty close. And then our 4th shade here is this matte brown called Pecan, which is the same as this one here. Again, you can see the new one's a little bit lighter and it's a little bit warmer as well. So the other two shades, let's just go ahead and swatch those just so we have them here. These are the other two from the Praline Petite Four. You can see that they all sort of go together, but they're not exactly the same. This one, though, is kind of the closest to this. It's just the new one is peachy. Now, this is the Petite Four in Garnet. And this shade here, the second shade, this is going to be Cabaret, which is the same as number 8 right here. And you can see, again, the new version is a little bit lighter, a little bit warmer. And then this shade here, Pagale, and that is going to be the same as our second shade. And those, I think, match pretty spot on. So I hope that gives you an idea of how some of the older shades with the exact same name kind of compare to the newer versions. Things change a little bit over the years. I'm going to remove those, and then we're going to swatch a couple more larger palettes. All right, so I want to swatch a couple of my favorite palettes just to kind of see how they go. And this one here is the VISEART in the Neutral Matte. So this is kind of their classic palette, and I just wanted to go ahead. We're going to just swatch this right here, just swatch by swatch. These are not going to be, you know, super similar palettes, but it is a really great neutral matte palette that I feel like, you know, kind of you can get some of the same types of looks with the matte browns in here as you can with the mattes in the new palette. So let's just take a look at those. All right, so that is our VISEART Neutral Mattes. You can see we do have some shades that look a little bit similar, but overall the palette itself is going to be fairly different. And then I want to take a look at one of my favorites. This one came out last year. This is the Cyrano's Etendu, and I love this palette. So this is really going to be more of a cooler option. And let's see if we can go on this side here. And hopefully this will just give you kind of an idea of another great palette that really lives up to the hype, in my opinion. And we do have a few similar shades like this. It's going to be similar. It's a little bit more pink than the Pagale shade. We've got a bit of a duochrome here. I don't think this duochrome, though, is a super effective duochrome. I don't get that much of a color flip with it, personally. So, but overall, you can see that this palette, again, we do have some similar tones in there, but we've got some cooler options in here to offset it. So depending on what you're looking for, it's another really good option. All right, so I hope this has been helpful. Again, we've got the Praline Etendu here. This is the Neutral Mattes, and this is the Cyrano's Etendu. And let's go ahead and we're going to move on to the Tower28 blushes. All right, so Tower28 sent me 3 of their Get Set blushes back when these were launching. So this is a Long Beach Iced Tea, and these are actually a mix of blush and setting powder, which really just, you know, pertains to the formula there. It's supposed to be a blurring blush on the skin. And again, this Long Beach Iced Tea, this is the lightest of the 3 that I have. It looks a little bit more nude in the pan, but you can see it's going to be a little bit more of a rosy nude. I think it's a really nice shade. This one here is Samo Spritzer, and you can see this one is going to be a little bit more of a muted berry. I would say it's a dusty berry, and it's going to be, you know, more medium depth. And then the last shade here is Solette Slushy. Now, packaging wise, these are going to have your plastic packaging. It's thin, it's lightweight, there is no mirror. This one here is going to be more of a reddish raspberry kind of shade. Think of a mix of raspberry and strawberry and just kind of mix those together. So you can see these are the 3 that I have. Let's take a look at these on the cheeks. For all these demos, I'm using a Kyoto Yoshiki angled cheek brush. This is in the 3D shape. Personally, I love this style of brush. And on the right side, I'm going with a lighter application. On the left side, I'm building up the color in a couple of layers so you can really see the depth of color. So these blushes retail for $22 US. They have a 1-year shelf life and they're made in Korea. We have 4 grams of product in each. Now, according to Tower28, we have a sweat-proof finish. It controls shine and hydrates skin. It is the first ever blush and setting powder in one with 12-hour fade-proof color. It sets, blurs, and smooths texture, and it has a soft matte finish with no shimmer. This is also a vegan and cruelty-free product, and it is talc-free. I've been testing these out on and off for, well over a month now, and I have to say, I like these, but I don't love them. So for my complexion, since I do have fair skin, I have to put on more of a lighter application for the majority of the shades, except for the Long Beach iced tea that I have. That one I don't have to be as cautious with. But with the other shades, I do feel like sometimes when I'm trying to sheer it out to get a lighter application, I just feel like the color ends up looking a little bit more splotchy. And it doesn't necessarily blend as smoothly as I would like, for the pigment. So I feel like, if you have a deeper skin tone than I do, and you don't have to worry about that so much, then these actually look really nice. You do get that soft, matte, blurred effect on the cheeks, and I really like that. But for me, with, these shades are going to be on the more fairly pigmented side. So when I have to be a little bit more cautious about, how much product I actually apply, I just feel like it doesn't necessarily blend out as smoothly as I would like. So I think these are nice, but I don't love them. I do think that they are a nice product though for deeper skin tones. And, personally for me, I really like the Long Beach iced tea, and that's a shade that works really well for my complexion. So if you do have fair skin and you want to test these out, that's the one I would recommend. And the other 2 shades that I have, they're just a little bit deeper. So sometimes, I'll apply the blush and then I have to go over it with like my foundation brush or a powder or something to kind of blend that out a little bit more or subdue it. So just something to note there. It's not like a deal breaker, but it is, something, it's an extra step. So let's take a look at those shades one more time. We have the Long Beach iced tea. Again, this is my favorite. It's kind of like this rosy nude, and it's kind of like a peachy rose. So it's pretty neutral. And then we have the Samo Spritzer, which I think is a really nice, it's kind of like a dusty berry / mauve, and I think this is a really nice shade. This is actually the one that I've worn the most. I was really playing with this one a lot to, try to get the perfect application with it. And when I get that just right, it's a really beautiful shade. And then this one here is going to be the Sawtelle Slushy. I love the actual color. So typically I will do what I did today in the video where I'll just use a pop of color with that and kind of mix it with a Long Beach iced tea. And I think it's a really beautiful brightening shade. So beautiful colors, but again, for fair skin, I think the one that works best is definitely the Long Beach iced tea. So overall, it's a really beautiful blush. And let's go ahead and we're going to move on to some products from Tilt. So these were gifted. So we have a mascara, and I want to show you this packaging here. So this has this has that rubberized texture like you would get with like the NARS palettes. We have a curved one here. This is going to be a deep black. So let's take a look at this on the eye. This is called the Lashscape. It's the Lengthening Lifting Mascara. It's clean, vegan, cruelty-free, fragrance-free, and refillable. So I really like that. We do have 8 milliliters of product, and the packaging style was designed to be easy to open, hold, and apply. So, I actually do really like that. I didn't think I would. At first, I pulled it out. I was like, because it's not like your traditional packaging for a mascara, it's not like your thin tube. But it is actually really easy to hold. I like having that shorter wand to get close to the eyes. And yeah, so overall, I'm actually very pleased with that. So this retails for $28 US. We have 8 milliliters of product. It is actually recognized by the National Psoriasis Foundation, which I think is kind of a nice touch. And it has 12 hours of smudge resistant lift, length, and curl in a single swipe. It's the first mascara to receive the Arthritis Foundation's Ease of Use certification, making it easy for everyone to use, including those with arthritis and chronic pain. And I think that's a really commendable thing there. So I'm very happy with that. This mascara retails for $28 US. We have 8 milliliters of product. We have the standard 6-month shelf life for a mascara, and this is made in Italy. Formulated with lash strengthening ingredients like peptides, keratin, ceramides, and it removes easily with warm water and a gentle cleanser. And I can say that that is accurate. Now, as for the performance and my personal thoughts on this, I actually do really like this mascara. You know how sometimes you get a mascara and when you first open it, it's a little bit too wet and it kind of needs that time to, you know, kind of just like set it aside while it's already been open, let it dry out a little bit. This already comes with kind of that perfect texture. So it is a little bit of a drier formula, not a wetter formula. Yet it's not flaky. I haven't had it long enough to see how the formula will be at the end of its shelf life, but you know, right now I have to say I'm really happy with it. It definitely gives lengthening, and actually it's so lengthening that I do end up kind of, you know, getting my lashes will touch my brow bone. So it wipes away though right away. I don't have to let it kind of like dry and then brush away. So it's pretty easy to use. And I think it's a really nice mascara. So if you go in multiple layers, you're going to get more volume, but really this is going to be a lengthening mascara, and that's definitely what you get with this. So I'm very pleased with this mascara. I think it's a really nice product. Let's move on to the lip tint. So this is the lip tint in Coffee Break from Tilt. I'm just going to put this here on my hand. And so we have, this is back and forth. And this is several layers there. And Coffee Break, I was expecting more of like a neutral brown. This is really a peach. So it's a soft peach. And I have this on now, but underneath I do have the lip pencil from Farrah Hamidi in Fawn. And I'm going to show you the lip demo with and without the lip pencil, so you can see what this looks like on its own. So let's take a look at that. So this is called the Grip Stick. And it retails for $26 US. It has a 1-year shelf life. It's made in Canada, and we have 4 grams of product. And it's described as a tinted lip treatment. Texturally, you know, if you've used the Augustinus Bader lip balms, it's like a slightly waxier version of those. Those are kind of like an oil balm in a stick, and they're kind of thin, oily texture. And this also has a very similar feeling on the lips, just not quite as thin as the Augustinus Bader. It's described as an instant hit of hydration and sheer comfy color in a patented refillable case for easy application. Silky, fragrance-free moisture cocoons lips, visibly smoothing and plumping, leaving behind a demi-shine finish. Infused with Tilt Calm Complex to relieve, soothe, and soften even the driest lips. And just like the mascara, is vegan and cruelty-free, and it is a clean beauty product. And the packaging on this also has the Arthritis Foundation's Ease of Use certification. One of my favorite characteristics of this lip tint is it's fragrance-free and flavor-free, and I feel like it's so hard to find those. So I really enjoy the texture of this. I was hoping that this color would be a little bit more nude. It is described as a sheer nude, and it's really going to be more of a peach. And when I say peach, I'm talking more of your true peach shade. Because it's such a light sheer shade though, this is one that is a really great topper, something easy to throw in your purse. The shape and the packaging on here makes it really easy to find. And yeah, I'm very happy that it's refillable. And again, I really do enjoy the packaging on the Tilt Beauty products. So thank you so much to Tilt for sending those to me. And let's just do a quick summary of everything we've looked at. But first, I wanted to take a second because I went in my recycling can over here and went to show you the packaging on these. So this is the packaging for the lip tint, and it says easy pull here. So this is not one of those boxes that you have to kind of dig your fingers in. You just pull this and it opens up like this. I love that. You know, I hate struggling to open boxes. You know, I actually did my nails this morning. They were still too soft. So now I've already messed them up. I'm going to have to remove it because I'm trying to dig things out of boxes. So I love the fact that this, you know, it doesn't do that. And inside, you know, it's just a little information about the product with the packaging and the refill aspect. So both of the Tilt products I have received the National Psoriasis Foundation Seal of Recognition. So there's a little information about that on the inside of the box. So just a quick summary. Let's work our way backwards then. So the Tilt Beauty products, I do really like both of them. For me personally though, it's the Lashscape mascara that I love the most. I've got a ton of tinted lip balms that I really like. I do love this packaging though. And so this is something that I would pick up again, but in another shade. This shade, it's nice, but I do prefer something a little bit cooler in tone for myself personally. The mascara though, I really like that. So I think both of those are winners. And then we have the Tower28 blushes. And I like these, but I don't love them because, again, as I mentioned, with these shades, they are fairly pigmented and I feel like they don't blend out as smoothly as I need them to for my fair skin. But I do really like the Long Beach Iced Tea shade, which is the lightest. I think that's a really great, like, everyday neutral. It reminds me of a rosier version of the Chanel Jersey blush. So I really love that one. And then we also have the VISEART Praline Etendu palette. And I think this is such a great palette full of warm neutral shades with a little bit of a coppery glint to all of them. Kind of like, you know, when you're actually making caramel in the pot and it's got that hue, you know, melted caramel. So I think it's a really great palette and I hope that this has been helpful. So thank you so much for tuning in and I will see you very soon. Have a great day.